Hello and welcome to the November 2020 edition of the Pembrokeshire Bird Diary. I'm Annie Haycock from the Pembrokeshire Bird Group, here to share with you some of the highlights of the month. Widgeon are our most numerous duck in winter, usually reaching their maximum numbers now. All but a few hundred of those in the county are found on the Cleddau estuary. Most of the birds are in the lower embayments, with 4,000 to 5,000 in Pembroke River and up to 2,000 in Angle Bay. They feed on grasses and seeds, especially the submerged beds of eelgrass or zostera, which is also known as widgeon grass in Scotland. By late November, most of the eelgrass is gone, and the majority of the widgeon move on, probably to their Somerset levels, where the numbers increase in December. Hooper swans are seen in most winters, but only in small numbers. Most records are of single birds, but family groups of up to 4 or 5 are not uncommon. Most are seen on the St David's Peninsula, although they can turn up anywhere. Like the one on Skocombe last month, that was also seen at the Gann. 3 were seen heading towards Ramsey early this month. Then a group of 4 were present in fields just east of Groesgoch from the middle of the month onwards. On the 23rd, John Best saw 4 birds leaving Trevythen Marsh at dawn and heading south. At about 1 p.m, the Sea Trust team doing a porpoise survey saw a group of 4 hooper swans flying off the sea, heading in the general direction of St David's. At 2 p.m, there were 4 birds near Groesgoch as usual. So were these all the same birds going round in a circle? Or were they different groups of 4 that happened to be noticed on the same day? We shall never know. Well, there hasn't been a hooper on the Gann this month, but here is Dave to tell us what has been around there.
November turned out to be a really good month at the Gann. On the 5th, we had a great egret, which was flying over the house and then settled on the lagoon very briefly. And this was a second sighting of this species at the Gann for 2020. The Bonaparte's gull that was found on the very last day of October remained until the 18th of November, seen on at least 5 occasions, although in general the sightings were all quite brief. Over at St Bride's by the church, a traditional site, black redstarts were seen. We saw this beautiful male and hoped that we would find one eventually in our garden, and we did a few days later, and we ended up with 2 birds. The highlight, though, for us at the Gann in November was this sighting of a Caspian gull, an adult bird seen on the river just above the footbridge on the 11th. In flight, some diagnostic features can be seen, including the large white mirror on the outermost primary and some white tongues bleeding into the black on the 6th to 8th primaries. Quite a subtle bird for many. But it was great to get this, and this proved to be the second ever Caspian gull for Pembrokeshire, following a bird on the Nevern estuary in July 2017. Quite remarkably, 9 days later, a second Caspian gull was found at the Gann. This bird was ringed with a yellow ring and incredibly proved to be the same bird that was seen at the Nevern in 2017. Yellow X290 was ringed in eastern Germany on the 6th of June 2016. And was subsequently seen in Ceredigion in March 2017, then the sighting at the Nevern, and then no sightings between then and the Gann estuary on the 20th. The bird remained at the Gann for the following 2 days, although was very, very elusive and only seen by a handful of people. And that wrapped up a really good month at the Gann.
Down on Castle Martin Course on the 20th and 21st of November, Rob Lewis and Richard Ellis both photographed a marsh harrier with orange wing tags bearing the letters IL in black. The tags belong to the North West Norfolk Ringing Group's Marsh Harrier project. This bird, a male, had been ringed and tagged on a nest in southeast Norfolk on the 6th of June. Between 1990 and 2010, the North West Norfolk Ringing Group had metal ringed 213 marsh harrier nestlings. Only 7 were ever recovered, all dead. Obviously, a more obvious kind of marking was needed. The wing tagging project began in 2011, and by the end of 2020, a total of 654 nestling marsh harriers had been ringed and wing tagged. This has resulted in a recovery of resighting rate of nearly 33%, an astonishing success rate. The project, which is due to end in 2025, hopes to answer basic questions about dispersal and habitat choice, among others. What is not in doubt is that the population there is expanding. On the 23rd, an adult female was present on the course, chasing a raven. She was not seen again. On the 24th, the tagged male was seen chasing crows, and a first winter female turned up. One or both of the first winter birds were seen regularly for the rest of the month. More on this story next month. But please report any tagged birds that you see. Even if you don't get all the details on the tag, the information can still be useful. Eider of any kind are scarce around the Pembrokeshire coast these days, but David Ord caused a lot of excitement by finding one that was a bit different in St Bride's Bay, down near Littlehaven. Fortunately, the bird was close enough to photograph and was subsequently identified as a king eider. King eiders are one of the most northerly breeding birds in the world, and they generally don't come very far south for the winter. Only 2 or 3 are seen in Britain each year, and only 2 have ever previously been recorded off the Welsh coast. This one was a first for Pembrokeshire, and it stayed around until at least the end of the month, although it was often further from the shore, and few of us got as good views as David did. Skocombe can seem a remote and bleak place in winter, but Richard and Giselle found plenty to keep them occupied this month.
November was a rough month and began with the lingering Chetty's warbler on the 1st, along with a fine adult little gull feeding in Broad Sound. The first snow bunting of the year was found near Winter Pond on the 4th, and the first brambling flew over the obs. A little egret was also at North Pond. A flat, calm and gloriously sunny day on the 5th saw the return of some of our guillemots to the cliffs, their first landfall since their post-breeding season departure. The first woodcock was found hiding under a bramble at the well on the 6th, a bird which was the latest autumn arrival since 2013, and a late swallow over the obs on the 7th was our first November sighting since 2013. At least 2 Manx shearwater were heard calling after dark on the 9th, and on the 10th Fulmers finally plucked up the courage to make landfall again. An adult willow warbler seen regularly since October was last seen on the 10th, this the latest ever record for Skocombe by some margin.
A missel thrush on the 13th was our first since November 2016, and an Arctic skewer, which powered through the kittiwake flock in Broad Sound, was the latest ever Skocombe record. An adult little gull was seen regularly in Broad Sound, and on the 18th it was joined by a first winter glaucus gull. This was surprisingly only the 6th for Skocombe. 2 pale-bellied brent geese headed east past the lighthouse on the evening of the 19th, and what was presumably the same glaucus gull joined the North Pond roost the following day. The 22nd produced a grey plover, a gan-ringed redshank, and a Lapland bunting. 2 chiffchaff joined our lingering chiffchaffs on the 25th, and the following day this interesting-looking Danish ringbird was controlled. Black redstarts made regular appearances during the month.
On Skomer, Nathan and Sylvia were still busy with the end of the seal pupping season and then packing up for winter, but they still managed to see a few birds. This great grey shrike appeared at the farm on the 7th. It was only the 4th island record, with the previous ones being found in 1960, 1988 and 2002. This first winter glaucus gull hung around in North Haven for a day, the first record of this stunning species since 2014. Nathan and Sylvia left Skomer on the 22nd, typically a lovely sunny day with signs of good bird passage, including the first missel thrush of the season, and then a single great northern diver flying outside North Haven. Let's hope everyone gets the chance to visit Skomer again in 2021. Well, that's a quick review of what's been recorded in November. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again for the December edition.